Hello everyone, I'm Yunus Emre Vurgun from OPCTurkey. We are the official distributor of KEPServer technologies in Turkey since 2003. Our company has contributed in many successful projects since then. We noticed the need for an external software that can make some of KEPServerEX's functionalities easier to use, mostly for people who are not familiar with this technology. KEPServer offers API services that let third parties access certain functionalities in order to build such client applications. KEPServer lets other developers to connect to their services via their built-in API server technologies. This ability enables other software to send and receive data from KEPServer. This video will be an introduction to our recently finished API client application for KEPServer. I will use the Windows executable version for this video. Double-click on the .exe executable to run the software. If it is your first time, you will have the welcome screen pop up with full administrator controls given to you. To change this, go to Settings and Security Settings. Simply activate the password protection. When you activate it, the program will shut down to apply the new changes. When you start again, you will be asked for your username and password. You can either log in as a guest or enter your credentials for complete access to all functionalities of our software. Guest users can not write or modify data and only have the reading access on both Configuration API and REST API. Your default username and password is admin for both. To change this, you can simply select Change Application Password from the Settings menu. This will update your credentials and save them. Another option in the settings menu is Save Multiple KEPServer Configurations. This section lets you store multiple credentials in the CSV file provided to you on the installation. Remember to import existing lists each time you start a software by visiting this section. You can also add and remove existing lists via opening the CSV file via Excel and saving it. If you decide to modify the list via our software, you will still need to run the CSV file with a program such as Excel and click on Save for it to be recognized by our program. Saving multiple URLs and credentials for KEPServer allows you to quickly switch between both REST and configuration APIs when needed. If the username and password fields are empty in your CSV file, the program will assume that it is for our REST API client. Otherwise, it will assume it is for Configuration API. In order to work with our Configuration API client, simply click on this button on the welcome screen. We can choose to access via the navigation bar on top of the window. This will open up a separate window dedicated to configuration of your KEPServer project. On the navigation bar, you will find main options and tag options. Main options offer you a safe mode. This will hide any capabilities that can permanently change your project. Same as the guest mode in some sense. This can be turned on and off. The second item is for hiding log messages. These logs are regarding our software and not your KEPServer itself. We have the Reconnect to API button. This refreshes the page unless you enter a new IP and start from scratch. The last item is for making sure you automatically open a new page each time you make a permanent modification on your KEPServer project. This can be deleting a tag or changing tag values. Each time the program will restart its configuration client for you to make a new connection. This can be turned on and off when needed as well. Next to the main options, we have the tag options. This drop-down has the tag modification functions which you can view when you are about to make a change. The last option you'll find is the Turn On Activation Approval Pop-ups button. By default, we do not ask for a confirmation when you make changes to your project. This is an extra security measure to make sure you don't accidentally modify your project. It will ask you twice for any permanent changes. It is turned off by default. Below the navigation bar, you will find a drop-down for selecting your previously saved configurations. These will be imported from your Excel file Remember to import the Excel data when you start a program. When new changes are made to the CSV file, it is especially crucial. If you do that, you will find all your related information in this dropdown. Upon selection, related data will automatically be put into the necessary text fields. You can always manually enter your credentials too. Clicking on the connect button will trigger an API request which will try to connect the KEP server with your given information. You will find the status and the connection status box next to the button. Below this line you have 3 different blocks. The one on the left side is where you can find information regarding your selections. When you make a successful connection, the project ID and number of channels will automatically appear here. As you continue your selection from the middle area dropdowns, the other information will start to appear as well. Upon selecting a tag, the rightmost corner will give you information about the tag, its scan rate, address, and type. Make sure to select the channel twice when you are making your selection from the dropdown, as the first selection may not trigger the needed results. Below this area, we have the log window. You'll find logs of what is going on behind the screen here, with timestamps for each log. You can close this by simply pressing on the X button or clear logs when needed. Expanding it will open a new window for you to view them easily. You can export these logs as text files into the installation folder. Each log file will have the data in its name. Will have the date in its name. To start making changes to your tags, simply go back to the tag options menu. Upon selection of either create a tag or modify a tag, the bottom log window will disappear automatically and will be replaced with the necessary fields. Deleting a tag does not have a dedicated area, as it is simply for deleting the selected tag. For each tag action, you will find the status box appear with the return server messages. 200 or 200 OK means it is a success. You can reconnect and see if the desired changes are made. You can also check that manually by visiting your KEPServerEX configuration if it is installed on the same machine. The other main section of our program is the REST API client for IoT Gateway. On the welcome screen, you can click on this button or select from the pages drop down in the navbar. This section is much easier to use as it only reads and writes into your tags in IoT Gateway. This section has the same ability to recall saved configurations and put them into a dropdown. You can always manually enter your API server URL when needed. Clicking on the Connect to this IP button will make the API call and return a status code. You will find the connection status in its dedicated text box below the Connect button. Now you can type your tag names and click on Read to read values. If you would like to view a list of your tags, simply open the Options menu and click on Show List of Tags. This will create both a new dropdown to select a tag and a list at the bottom in text format. When you'd like to write into a tag, go to the Options menu and enable writing. This will make the writing section available. Any text selection from the dropdown will automatically go in the tag name areas in both reading and writing sections. This section has no double checking mechanism enabled as default. If you would like the program to ask you to confirm your actions, simply enable this extra security feature in the Options menu by clicking on Enable Confirmation Prompts. You can refresh the page too. This will open a new window and close the previous. If you would like to automate your reading, simply activate Auto Read inside the Options menu as well. This will continuously read the value from the tag you selected and update the value field. In order to turn it off, click on this button again in the Options menu. On the welcome screen, there are 2 more navbar items, Manual and the About sections. About contains basic information about our software, and Manual is the complete guide for users to read. You can also read the manual from the PDF that was included in the zip file. Clicking on View the manual will automatically open the manual PDF as well. I'd like to give some details about guest mode too. When you enable password protection, users who don't know the credentials can still access our program, but with limited capabilities. Guest mode doesn't have access to any settings and does not have access to writing into IoT gateway tags, nor has access to modifying tags in configuration API. It is simply a read-only mode. Turning off password protection will enable all functionality without requiring an administrator. This was the version 1.2 of OPCTurkey's KEPServerEX through API client. Now I would like to give technical details about our program and the technologies it uses. It has been programmed in Java using the NetBeans IDE. The GUI uses Java Swing technologies as it is a desktop application. User credentials are encrypted using hash functions and can only be read by our program. All files provided need to be intact for our software to run, otherwise the executable will not run. For making API calls and retrieving responses, I use several technologies, and some of them are Java's own HTTP client API, which has HTTP client, request, response, and WebSocket, a very useful class with a lot of functionalities. The executable version that I used for this video has been converted from a jar archive of our program to make it run easily on any Windows machine with Java 1.8 and above.